Hello.
Oh. Welcome those that are joining us on the Coactive Experience webinar. And as you get settled in, we'd love to know where you're zooming in from.
Yeah, so if you want to pop into the chat, where are you located currently? And maybe also a word that sort of describes how you're joining us today. What's a word that describes how you're feeling in this moment?
Yeah. So we got Austin, Texas, and Heather's coming in from Chicago,
Yeah.
Michigan,
And Bogota, Colombia, and New Delhi. Hey, Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Sonal and I were just in Toronto a couple of months ago leading a course.
Yeah. Great. Oh, we've got St. Lucia, Amsterdam, Egypt. And thank you, as in feeling curious and excited. So also as you're joining and you're putting in where you're calling in from, feel free to pop a word in about how you're feeling in this moment.
Tennessee and feeling curious. Mary, yes, welcome. Curious. Dallas inspired.
Ready to
Ready
learn.
to learn.
Oh, look at these. Lovely. Open to possibilities. Got some more Canadians joining us.
Ah, Switzerland. Zurich. Welcome.
Yeah.
All kinds of representation from all over our world. And we welcome you here as you're joining us.
Yeah.
We'll give a few more moments. Those of you that are just joining, we welcome in wherever you are. Just drop that in the chat, your Zoom location, and a word about how you are.
Yeah. And maybe it's an emoji. I see Neha put in India and curious with a smiley emoji. So feel free to use an emoji to describe how you're feeling too. Ready to upscale. Okay, where are we at? So we have about 78 of you joining us. Oh.
Excited from the Bay Area, San Rafael. Welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, a little sick and open for the future. We welcome in whatever condition you are, and thank you for being here. So in Coactive, we include everything, whether that's sickness, excitement, or anywhere in between. So thanks for naming that.
Yeah. Welcome, Pete. Welcome. Yeah. Okay. So I'm wondering, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's, I'm noticing you're wondering and my feeling are aligning. Time to get started.
Yes. Okay. So maybe what we can do, Conrad, is just introduce ourselves first, so people know who are these human beings that are leading this webinar today. Do you want to?
You kick us off there.
Sure. Okay. And Clarissa, maybe we can take down the slide just for a moment and we can bring that back shortly. Thank you. So my name is Sonal Sodha. As I mentioned, I am based in Toronto, Canada. I'm a South Asian woman. I use the pronouns she and her. And let's see, I'm a faculty member at CTI. So I teach or I lead the coaching courses at CTI. Both online and most recently in person in Toronto. And I am an executive coach. I work with leaders and organizations mostly, both one-on-one and also with groups and teams. That's a little bit about me. Conrad, what about you?
I am Conrad Hayter, zooming in from North Carolina in the US in a town called Chapel Hill. He, him pronouns for me. And I too am a faculty member at the Coactive Training Institute and work with folks in the world that are really passionate about caring for others. So that can include folks in the medical space, education, entrepreneurs. Love this coaching profession, and delighted to be with Sonal and all of y'all to get this webinar started.
Great. Okay. So why don't we share a little bit about what we're going to do today? So thank you, Clarissa, for showing us these slides. And we can go to the next one.
Yes, and Clarissa is in the background supporting
Yes.
us. So she's handling the chat and some of the PowerPoint. We do have a few slides that we want to share, give you an overview of where we're going.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with, this is what you're going to get out of this, we're hoping, is you're going to learn a little bit about what coaching is and also what coaching is not.
Then we're going to introduce you to a tool, a coaching tool. We call it the Wheel of Life. More to say about that in a moment.
And then I'm going to do a coaching demo with a lovely human being who has agreed to allow us, or me in this case, to coach him. And through that demo, you're going to experience some different coaching skills.
And then from there, we're going to unpack those coaching skills through a debrief, locking our learning together. What did we notice about this particular coaching? And then get into a place for some Q&A. You may have some questions about coaching in general or coactive specifically. So we'll go to that point.
Yeah, great. Next slide, thank you.
The next piece, we call this designing our alliance, which is a coaching skill, a coactive coaching skill. And we want to set these 3 expectations for our time together. So the first part you may have noticed already, we're co-leading. Sonal and I, this is unscripted.
Yeah.
And we may say things the same or different, but that's part of the journey.
Yeah, and we may interrupt each other. We may finish each other's sentences. And if you take any courses with CTI or Coactive Training Institute, you will always have 2 co-leaders for every course, and this gives you the chance to experience different styles.
Absolutely. Confidentiality. This particular webinar is not being held confidentially. The gentleman that has agreed to be the client is holding that as well, knowing that this is recorded and will be posted online. So for this particular one, we will not be holding confidentiality. However, we do hold confidentiality in all aspects of coaching and the coaching relationship.
Yeah, it's a really important thing that we take a stand for, that when you're working with a client, you hold the content and sometimes even who your clients are as confidential, unless you have permission.
One last piece of context here. The volunteer is bringing a real, authentic, genuine topic to the coaching session. This is something that's important going on in their life.
Yeah, and I think that's important as well as it relates to our courses. We don't do role play in our courses. We work with people who have real topics, and we bring real topics. And so everything you learn in our courses, it's experiential and it's real. So that is a little bit about designing our lives. And now normally, if we were working with any of you as a client, we would be going back and forth and, asking you what you might need from us. And we would be sharing more about what we might need from you. But for the purposes of today, we just wanted to set a few things here as context.
Next slide. What in the world is coaching? What is coaching? According to the International Coaching Federation, coaching is partnering with individuals in a thought-provoking, creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential.
Yeah, and so for me, when I read the definition, and there's lots of definitions of coaching out there, for me, what stands out, one of the things is this piece about we are partnering with people. So it is very different from, we're not telling people what to do with their personal and professional lives. We're partnering with them to help them come to and figure out what it is that they want to do.
I'm appreciating that, Sonal, and that partnering word in coactive. Coactive means power with. This is the togetherness, the relationship, versus in other relationships, other modalities, there's a power over. There may be a consultant that's an expert on things, and consulting is great. Good modality of leadership, very important in our world. And we want to orient us to this coaching definition because in coactive coaching is power with, together in the relationship.
Yeah, like it's almost like the metaphor that I like is that when we're coaching, it's like you're sitting side by side with your client or your coachee on a park bench, and together you're looking out at what is this either challenge or opportunity that they're facing. So there's no hierarchy here.
Beautiful. Love the metaphor of the park bench. Let's see, as we're looking on the park bench, what's the next slide?
Yeah. It's the wheel of life.
Click to the next one. There we are. It is. How about that?
So we promised you that we were going to share a coaching tool with you, and this is a tool that that we use in the coactive coaching program. And I think Conrad and I both use this in our practices in different ways. Yeah, and
yeah, that's beautiful to say. Oh, the different ways really is important. It can be used at the beginning of a relationship, a coaching relationship, or throughout. Often clients can come and they're not really clear on a topic. This is a way for them to take a snapshot of their life right there where they are and see what areas may want more attention.
Yeah. And so as you look at this wheel of life on the screen, you see that there's different categories. And some of these categories, may be able to be split into two categories. So for example, family and friends might actually be separate. Family is one category, friends is another category. So really, if you were working with a tool like this, you could, with your client even, change the names of the categories. You could make it more than 8 segments, whatever you would like to do. I've seen, and I've used before categories that are related to somebody's leadership. So it might be things like strategic thinking and maybe delegation and maybe some of these other things that are important in that aspect of their life.
Yes, and the way we have it set up here on the screen, there are 8 wedges, and in the middle, just to orient you to it, 1 means not satisfied and 10 means highly satisfied. So if we take significant other, for example, that doesn't mean if you have a 10 there, that doesn't mean you have a significant other. It just means that that part of your life, you're satisfied, whether or not you're in relationship, just as an example.
Yeah. And also what
So
I think is, yep. We had a little glitch there, I think.
Go ahead, Sonal.
Yeah. And so I think the other thing here is that this is a snapshot in time. So if I were to do a wheel of life right now, and then I were to do it again, I don't know, next week, it might be a little different. So it's this moment in time. How satisfied are you from 1 to 10 with that specific area of your life?
All right. So let's put this into action, I think is what's next. So we're going to come back on screen and we're going to invite our volunteer on screen and hope that they are here. So we welcome in
Pete or Peter.
Peter.
Pete? I think we see you on our screen if you want to come on camera. There you are.
Hi there. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Pete, welcome to the screen, and a deep bow of gratitude for you volunteering to be a client in this particular demo. So for the rest of us that are here, in a moment, Sonal is going to be the coach and do a demo using the Wheel of Life with Pete. And our role is to orient to her, to the coach, and be curious about what skills she's using. What are you noticing about this, the energy in the conversation? So Pete, I know, at least I make up Pete, never met you before. is going to be a wildly fascinating human being.
Yeah.
So,
No pressure. No
no
pressure.
pressure.
Wow,
No pressure.
goodness. I slept at a Holiday Inn last night, so that's got to help.
See, already can tell that his energy is coming in, and we just want to invite you to focus on the coach, and then we're going to have a debrief after the demo.
Yeah.
Sonal,
Great.
anything else to blend in as we get started with this?
Yeah, I think you've covered it, Conrad. And maybe if you could let me know when we're at about 12 minutes in, that would be
Okay.
great.
So I'm going to pop off screen and leave the stage to y'all.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to shift something, Pete, so I can see you better on my screen. There we go. So first of all, hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again, just want to echo, thank you so much for agreeing to allow, in this case, me to coach you. We've never met, so it's really lovely to meet you. So thank you for that.
And likewise.
Great. Now, Pete, you've been listening to what we've been talking about. You heard us talking about designing our alliance. And so just a little mini designing between you and I right now. Is there anything that you need from me or from yourself in order for this to be a safe and courageous space for you?
No, I appreciate the question. I think for me, there's already some trust established, knowing how reputable Coactive coaching organization is. So I'm just eager for the experience. I'm very comfortable to be transparent because I'm motivated to get to, what the truth is, where I'm stuck, and how I can gain some perspective on that to accelerate where I want to go.
Okay, great. And if something does come up for you, even during our coaching, will you let me know if you want to redesign anything or ask me for
Yes,
anything?
for
Yeah.
sure.
Amazing. Okay. And just maybe just a couple of quick things for me, I'd like to ask for permission for. If at any point in our coaching conversation, if it feels like we're getting really into the weeds of things or the details and stories of things, are you okay if I intrude or interrupt you, pause you maybe, for the sake of helping you get to like the heart of the matter? Is that okay?
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. And are you sitting right now, standing? How are you right
I'm
now?
standing.
Okay, great. So if I ask you to maybe move around, is that okay for you?
Sure,
We
absolutely.
won't have you go like all the way off screen or anything like that, but maybe
Okay.
turn you. Okay, great. All right. So I understand that you have spent some time looking at your wheel of life already, and that you have an area of the wheel of life that you would like to get some coaching on. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What is that area?
Well, there was two, and one was career. I'm trying to think what the other complementary segment was. It was last week, and I've had a busy weekend since then. But
Yeah.
it was really about learning and development and knowledge related to my career.
Okay. Okay. So career, and then sort of a side part of that is learning and development knowledge as it relates to career.
Yes.
And as you even say that out loud and you check in with yourself right now, is that still where you want to focus for today?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Give me like a couple sentences about what's making this area particularly important to look at today.
Well, I tend to be pretty reflective as I go from one year to the new year. Between Christmas and New Year's, I spend some quiet time to reevaluate what I did or did not get accomplished in the prior year and what I hope the new year will be like. And this year is particularly different because I'm continuing to grow in the area of being a professional services provider, of which coaching I'm now getting serious about. So obviously, partnering with Coactive Institute, I'm open up to a whole range of learning opportunities that I'm getting excited about. But what I'll share with you now is I have a large appetite to learn and grow, and I can overwhelm myself quickly with putting too much on the plate. And so I've successfully done that. And
Okay.
trying to get some clarity, just to be realistic, to say at the end of the day, despite my energy, there's still only 7 days a week, 24 hours in a day. So I may need to calibrate a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm very much aware of that. But that being said, still eager to find that right balance so I can move forward in that which makes the most sense because time is limited.
Yeah. Okay. And so as you say that, if you're thinking about this career slash learning development within career, where did you rate yourself as your current state of satisfaction?
I put it right around a 4 or a 5. 5 if I'm being compassionate to myself, 4 if I'm being hard on myself because I'm motivated to get to a better spot. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so you feeling compassionate today? You feeling hard on
No,
yourself?
I'm gonna go with a 4. Really,
Before. Okay.
the bar
All right.
lowest I can improve.
Okay. So what is life like for you when career slash learning development is at a 4 for you?
Well, it's can be a little frustrating
Mhm.
because I'll start my day with a lot of energy. I will have a plan for
Mm.
sure, but I can get distracted because things may come of interest that I may go deeper down to learn more about an area. It's kind of like when you search the web, right? You 5 clicks into it, and all of a sudden you realize, hours gone, and have you really gotten to the task that you wanted to? So
Mhm.
whereas I gain energy, I'm energized to go into the day to have the learning experience. I may at the end of the day feel like, gosh, I didn't get exactly where I wanted to go
Yeah.
because of those distractions or diversions.
Right.
So it's kind of a mixed bag. But no, yeah, generally recharge, refresh, start the day with a positive attitude and go at it again. And if
Yep.
I'm smart or reflective, I'll try to make some adjustments, but not always.
Not always. Okay. Okay. So that's a 4. So you start off with the energy and then the focus might go because you get, double clicking on different things, etc. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And if we were to say, okay, we don't worry about how we're going to get there, or when we're going to get there, but what would you like that number to be?
Well, I'd love it to be an 8 or a 9 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
Okay.
against a 10, but I also have to be realistic and leave some room to grow thereafter. But yeah, sure.
Okay.
Definitely just let's double that number at a minimum.
So let's make it an 8. Is that what I'm hearing?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of imagining, okay, if that's okay with you.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. So let's imagine that, actually, you know what? Since you're standing, imagine that there's a line on the ground in front of you, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
where you are right now, that's a 4. Okay.
Hmm.
So find a spot on the line that represents an 8 for you,
Left or right or forward or back?
wherever you feel called.
Well, I'll go forward.
Okay. All right. So this is an 8. So
Hmm.
imagine so you stepped into an 8 out of 10 in Pete's life. Okay. Career, learning development within career.
Hmm.
All right. So what is it like to be at an 8 out of 10? And talk to me as if you're already there.
It feels empowering. It
Yeah.
feels confident.
Mm-hmm.
It feels energizing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think those would cover it. I mean, I could use more adjectives, but that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. Okay. And if it was even better than that, what else would be there?
Oh, I mean, I'd say unstoppable.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
something happened as you said unstoppable. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
what, yeah, what was that?
Well, just some of it's a little bit of relief to know that I've gotten out of this stuck mode. But
Yeah.
I am an optimistic and positive person. I think that the actions I have today, and even what I say to myself, creates my reality for tomorrow. So it
Yeah.
feels like I'm a little bit practicing what I preach. And
Yes.
that's the other
Even in
part
this
as a
moment.
coach. Yeah, exactly. That I want to be, and I coach others to break through challenges as well. That it just feels good to be honest, to say as individuals, we all need help getting unstuck. So I
Yeah.
feel authentic in that
Yeah.
way.
So authentically unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. You sure?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you're authentically unstoppable, what's the impact that you have?
Well, then I'm really fulfilling my purpose.
Mhm.
I approach my business with a service mindset. There's people that I want to help.
Mhm.
Uh, there's gifts and talents I want to be able to use well, and
Mhm.
I want to create a larger impact in my life. So I feel like one, I'm being true to my mission. And I do believe, because, it is a business that I'm scaling, I do have a family to support and kids to put through college. I do believe the value as far as my business growing and growing my organization, financial stability, my
Mhm.
ability to invest more, be more generous with my treasures, time and talent. Those things
Mm,
will fold in on top of themselves.
mm, mm. So I feel like I heard some of your values in what you just said. Like you talked a little bit about this helping people aspect.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah. What
Yes.
are yeah, go ahead. So what's important about that for you?
Well, I'm at the stage of my career where I've been in corporate life for over 30 years, and nothing wrong with corporate life. I worked for some great companies, some wonderful people, received a ton of great people development, but I feel that where I'm at, I could take a different approach. And whether that's we're still recovering from COVID, people are trying to find their way. What does my relationship with work look like? Or even
Mm,
people that are at the latter part of their career, how do they
mhm,
still find value in ramping that down towards retirement? Or people younger stepping into the workforce, trying to
mm,
say, what's this work thing really all about? Uh,
mm,
I feel motivated to share the things that I've learned through success and failure to help make people a better go of it. For me, it really is about potential. I think the biggest waste in life is any of us to leave potential on the table. And I don't
wow.
want to do it myself either.
Yeah. Well, I can hear how passionate you are about that and that you like people matter to you and
Mhm.
giving back to people really matters to you.
Agreed.
Yeah. So when you're really living in this 8 out of 10 for yourself and you're this unstoppable, authentic part of you is really like flourishing and thriving. What would I see in you if I was like walking down the street and I saw you? What would I notice in you?
We'd probably make eye contact and I'd give you a
Yeah.
smile. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like, is it like the smile that you're giving me right now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And how would you be walking down the street?
Uh, I'm 6'3", so tall and probably pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine, so you're in this place already, and there's this wise part of you that knows what it's like when you are at this 8 out of 10 and you're able to get past that stuck part. Yeah. So if
Hmm.
you like sort of even in your mind's eye, or you can even physically turn back to Pete at a 4,
Right.
what's the piece of advice that you have for him right now?
Come on. Let's get going. Let's get going. Focus. Focus. It's better here.
Yeah.
Change
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Change is good. Focus, it's better here. Yeah.
And saying no, and I've always struggled with, less is more. Because some people,
Mhm.
I think, say less is more, and if I was to judge, which I try not to, I think that's kind of a narrowing mindset. Because I think sometimes more can be more, but it
Yeah.
just depends on what it is. And I think in my challenge, less is more gets to that focus piece, which is the invitation as much as it is a challenge for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. And so what's like a baby step that you, Pete at an 8, would tell Pete at a 4 that he could take to get him even just a little bit closer to where you are today in terms of the focus?
Yeah, I had an experience 2 weeks ago that I said no to an opportunity that was attractive to me,
Hmm.
that I slept on it, woke up in the morning, got clarity, and I said no with some confidence and no regrets, and it felt really good. Felt really
Okay.
good. So I'm looking for more opportunities to say no,
Yes.
and I'm also starting to be really bullish with distractions.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those little things that pop up, I call them no-see-em bugs in the summertime, those little bugs fly
No,
around you.
see him.
And they drive me
Yeah.
nuts. You're always trying to get them out of the way. I think that in my personal and business life, there's thousands of those things every week, and I'm really
Okay.
kind of over it.
So, okay, so I heard two things in there. So the first thing is saying no to things.
Hmm.
So, are you okay if I give you and offer you a challenge that you can absolutely say yes to, no to,
Yes,
or
please. Yeah,
or
yeah,
or counter
sure,
offer, right?
sure.
Okay. So the challenge is, will you say no to 20 different things this week for the rest of this week? You can say yes, no, or counter offer.
Yeah, I'm willing to.
You're
If they'll
willing
come
to.
up, if they'll come up, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm hearing that my challenge probably wasn't as challenging. It's
Oh,
something you can easily say no to. 10, 20 different things this week.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
challenge accepted.
Okay, great. And I have a second one here because you mentioned these no-see-ums and these yeah, I'll give you a moment to write that down.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the no-see-ums and the distractions day to day for you. What's one of those that you can eliminate?
You know, I think any of us in a work environment are caught in the psychology of the inbox. I am.
Mm,
You know, there's all those things that come up, particularly it's
yeah,
that updates folder, because sometimes there's things in there that are relevant. Maybe
yeah.
15% is relevant, the rest of it's junk.
Mm,
Normally, I would just click it all, delete them all, not feel like I've got to be a slave to email.
hmm
But I probably, I know people just delete things to move on, and they say, hey, if it's important, people will come back to you.
mm,
I've never practiced that because I don't
mm.
want to overlook things that are important. But I am flirting with the idea now of maybe I should do that because I do get stuck in that. What am I missing? And I can be a slave to email, which is a procrastination and getting to the thing
Right.
the most valuable for me that day.
Okay. So I heard you use the word flirting with that idea. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes,
Maybe I made
yeah,
that up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what will you flirt with then? You will do what?
Well, I guess it's to be just more bold and courageous. Say, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about the negative consequence. If there was an communication in there that I missed that maybe I wanted it in the scheme of things, it probably is not that important.
Okay.
So it really is, I guess, just pushing little back on my natural tendency to be on top of things.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear it's like giving yourself permission to maybe not be on top of things the way you normally are, even if it's just as an experiment.
Yeah, particularly for the things that don't matter. I guess there's
Yeah.
just no value being on top of something that doesn't matter. It's laughable as I say it, but it's true.
I hear you. Okay, cool. So those two different things that we've talked about, will you do those things? First of all, I'm just
I
checking in.
will. I will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And anything you need to design around accountability? You seem like somebody who can hold himself accountable, but is there anything you want to say about how you'll stay accountable to those things?
Well, I'm trying to eliminate sticky notes because they do distract me from my master plan. And my master plan sits on well, actually, I'm going to show this with you. There's my master plan, and
Yeah,
it's
I
got
love
sticky
it.
notes on it. I'm trying to get away from that, but I will write this. I will write these two commitments down so they'll be visible for me each day.
Okay, wonderful. I have so enjoyed having this conversation with you, Pete. I have this sense about you that you're very self-aware, and that as soon as you get super clear on what it is you're going to do, you're rocking and rolling.
Great. Well, thank you for that endorsement. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete, once again for being open and transparent and real for the sake of all of our learning. So the observers, everyone else on the call, and Pete, you can swap or turn your camera off and relax and get those things locked in, any learning that you have. We'd love to hear what you noticed in the chat. You can drop it in. What skills did you see? We're happy to unpack those, as well as I've got some things written down and would love to see what you noticed. Active listening. Yes, Sonal was listening not only to the words, but also to what was going on in a different level. Level 2, she was primarily focused on Pete and picking up on so many other attributes. She said at one time, I noticed something just shift there. So she was listening very deeply. So active listening.
Yeah.
Oh, please, Sonal.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, we talk about listening in some different ways. There's so many different definitions of listening. And at Coactive, we talk about 3 levels, right? So level 1 is we're listening to the chatter in our own head, right? So while Pete's talking, what am I actually thinking about that I'm going to have for lunch? That would be me listening to my own chatter, my self-dialogue. Level 2 is when I'm, really focused on exactly what Pete's saying and so intently there with him. And level 3 is, as Conrad is alluding to, I'm listening to what's the energy with which he's saying things, what's shifting in him, what is he not saying. And so as coaches, we're, fluctuating between level 2 and level 3 listening, while our clients are in their own level 1s because they should be listening to what's happening inside themselves.
Absolutely. A lot of great stuff coming in the chat. Just want to highlight a few. Asking open questions. We call those powerful questions. There were probably about 15. The ones I captured, what's it like at a 4? Open-ended question. Sonal said, what else? That's another open-ended question. There was several open-ended questions. They generally start with what or how, and they're short. And what makes them powerful or open-ended, it builds awareness in the client. So beautiful demo of powerful questions or open-ended questions. Oh, here's another great one. Curiosity came in. The magical elixir for judgment is curiosity, and Sonal had it 10-fold or maybe 100-fold. I don't know how to measure it. And she was curious about Pete, curious about what was going on with him, his world, and stayed in that place of open wonder. What else we got here?
Yeah, so I see here about the incorporation of consent. So yeah, asking for permission. And so we can do that in lots of different ways. We can do it at the beginning of a coaching conversation. Do I have permission to coach you? And then there's also moments throughout. Are you willing to X, Y, Z? Is it okay if we go a little deeper here? So we're constantly checking in.
Yeah, build it, and it builds trust. Someone put that in the chat. Movement. Yes. There was movement in this, and the impact of that, it allowed Pete, at least what I noticed, allowed Pete to imagine and take the actual physical step to dream up or imagine what an 8 would be. So the use of movement, we call it embodiment. We focus on the whole human being, mind, body, spirit, the seen, the unseen. And Sonal did a great job of using that holistic view, focus on the whole person, to allow movement to happen so the client built awareness.
Yeah, because there's wisdom everywhere. There's wisdom cognitively, heart, gut, body, all these kinds of things. And it doesn't mean that you have to have people get up, stand, move around, or anything like that. And sometimes just shifting even the body position is helpful.
Also mirroring and reflection. There was some mirroring. Sonal was actually physically right there with Pete. And then the reflection piece, she was articulating what was going on. She was just naming it. That same question I used before. I noticed something shifted there. What shifted, or what's happening for you? She used that type of language to be curious, not making up what she thought was shifting, but being curious about what shifted with Pete.
Yeah, so that's a skill that we talk about, articulating what's going on.
Yeah. So tons of great noticing by all the observers. And Sonal, anything else we want to highlight? I know we want to get to Q&A as well and see what questions there are. Anything else that you want to share from your experience?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like this. I'm looking for resonance. What's actually resonating for Pete in this case, and fanning the flames if there's a little spark there, and what's that like, and so this piece somebody in the chat put in around visioning. Oftentimes, when we start to get stuck in finding a solution, right, it's helpful for people to imagine, vision, what's the ideal? We're getting out of this moment somewhere else, and then that unlocks things so that the human being can come to their own solution.
Yeah.
That's
I appreciate you bringing that in. That's our orientation, that resonance piece, and then building it. Beautiful.
Mhm.
So let's get to some Q&A questions. I'm just popping up the Q&A box. There may be some in the chat. We invite you to click on the Q&A piece if you have questions that have not yet been put in there. Please put those in there. And the first question is around making the distinctions between coaching, therapy, and consulting with coactive clients. So yeah, great question. This is a normal, common, and question that comes as we look at the different modalities of healing and support and leadership. So the distinction, a couple of distinctions, coaching is generally present focused and future focused. The other piece with coaching is the client has all the answers. In coactive coaching, the client has all the answers within them. Our role as coaches is to build awareness and help them discover those questions, those answers, and maybe questions.
Yeah.
And then, please, yes.
Yeah, sorry, Conrad, you may have more to add to what you were saying. I was more going with, do I see, or do we see value in making distinctions with our clients? And I would say yes. Yeah. And I would also add in not just coaching, therapy, consulting, I would add in mentoring. What's the difference between mentoring and coaching? What is advising, what's directing. So oftentimes if, as I work with people in organizations, there's different modalities in leadership. So what are the different ones? How's that different from coaching? Okay. So yeah, I think it is helpful. And it's also a good way to check in with your clients. What's their understanding of what coaching is?
Yes. And great resources on the Coactive website, as well as the International Coaching Federation, to help make those distinctions for your clients.
I'm really appreciating this question from Carlos around talking about the body language. How important is it to keep smiling all the time during the coaching sessions? So that's not something that's necessarily important. That's just me. What I will say is actually most of the times when I'm coaching, I don't have cameras on. So I coach over the phone or Zoom without cameras. And so, I think it's whatever is your way of connecting with your client. And that doesn't need to be the way my way is or Conrad's way is. So yeah.
And smiling is not required. It is welcome. And we invite all, it's really important. We invite all the emotions, energies of the human experience of the full range. Let's see. Next question. Process the minimum number of sessions that a client has to go through to figure out solutions in their life. Great question. And let's see, one answer I have is as many as needed. That might not be very satisfying. And generally, in our experience as professional coaches, 6 months engagements, 3-month engagements, year-long engagements are the trend. I'm not saying those are the absolute, but those are the segments of time that generally the coaching agreements are set for.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to add that, it's not just that we're trying to help people find solutions. We're helping to grow their capacity as human beings. And so, they're working on themselves. It's developing themselves. So that can take any amount of time. But we typically do have some sort of agreed upon time frame or number of sessions, and then you're checking in with your client.
Yeah, it's at least I'll speak from my experience. It's a lifelong journey. And thank you for making that distinction. Solutions come and we focus on growing the human being. Great distinction. Sonal.
Thank you.
What's next?
Have you found that your personal coaching model or template strictly follows the coactive model, or do you also weave in other modalities? How versatile is the coactive model? That is a really great question. So our model at CTI, we don't call it the coactive coaching model. It's the coactive model because it can apply to lots of different things. And if you've ever seen our model, I don't think we have a slide for it, but it's got these cornerstones that we anchor on, which are, things like We hold that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, meaning they're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. They are able and capable of finding their own answers. So we've got different aspects of it, which I think are the foundations, and there are some skills in there like curiosity and listening and things like that. So I think it's, for me at least, it's a foundation. And then do I weave in other modalities? Yes, I do, because I have this model that I anchor on, and then I might bring in some things that I know about neuroscience or whatnot. What about you, Conrad?
Similar, solid foundation. It's incredibly sturdy, the coactive model. It's also flexible to be able to weave in, add on neuroscience or whatever the piece is. For me, it's more around the integrated family systems work that I'm doing. So it's a piece that can complement the power and structure of the coactive model.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Considering 8 segments of the wheel of life, should we explore interdependence between them in acting? Yes.
I mean, if your client wants to explore that too, yeah.
Yes, that was my own answer. Conrad is like, yes. And the why behind that is because we are a whole person. So what's going on in career may impact significant other or money or physical environment. So what you'll find, generally speaking, is when you unpack one, that awareness flows through the whole wheel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great question. We're just rolling through these.
Yeah.
What's
How effective are virtual coaching sessions versus in person? Well, I'll speak for myself. I don't do in-person coaching sessions. I do virtual, and whether it's with camera or not camera. So I'm assuming that they're effective. Conrad, do you do in-person coaching?
What I would invite you in, what I would invite you into to feel into that question is what modality is best for you. I know coaches that are exclusively in person, exclusively video, and exclusively audio. So they all work, and it's just the trade-offs between those. So please try them all if you're getting into the coaching profession, and find your way as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do you offer each client a package?
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's a coaching package.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. You can offer your clients a package. A package can be, as Conrad was saying earlier, it could be a 6-month package. It could be 4 sessions. It really depends on how you like to work with clients.
Yeah. And it's actually part of the International Coaching Federation core competencies, is that there would be a coaching agreement that can look very different, but that's an ethical standard that we hold from the International Coaching Federation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just the time for a few more, I think, here.
Yeah. Is it possible to use the coactive model for performance feedback, performance conversations within organizations? This is very interesting question. I have some thoughts, Conrad. I'm guessing you do too.
Yes. So yes, and this is a relationship model, and that sounds like it's a relationship in that dynamic of feedback performance. Also, we have the coactive leadership map and model, which offers orientation to how to be in relationship and provide feedback and performance. So I would point you to the answer. My answer is yes. And I wish we had more time to really unpack this. Bottom line is its relationship model, and much more if you choose to take the CLE, the coactive leadership experience, or the leadership program about how to offer feedback.
Yeah, and what I'll add to what Conrad is saying is that when we think about the coactive model and we think about the pieces in there, so the skills, the skill of curiosity, the skill of listening, the skill of self-management, all of these skills, I could see us using all of those skills in a conversation that's a performance management conversation or a feedback conversation, because that's the skill part of it. Do I personally use coaching as a modality for dealing with performance issues? Personally, no. I look at coaching as, taking somebody from good or to great, or great to even better, as opposed to trying to fix, because we don't believe that people need to be fixed. So
Yes. Just noticing our
10
time.
minutes.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. So we have some time for some more. And thank you for bringing these questions. These are great. Let's see.
Okay. Does Coactive have a specific specialist training for ADHD? We do not have a specific training for ADHD, nor executive coaching, nor any other high performance coaching. The skills and the tools that you learn in the Coactive program are foundational coaching skills that can be applied to any specialty. And if there are things specific for ADHD, then yeah, I would recommend seeking somebody who has a subject matter expert in that area. And
yeah, for sure. And we have colleagues that do specialize in that. They're Coactive coaches and they have that orientation toward ADHD. So very.
Yeah.
What do you do if the coach is not having a good time in grieving?
Yeah. So what I see here is, okay,
what do you do if
how to separate the coach and the human
Sonal.
being. So yeah, if a coach is not having a good time or is grieving, how do you separate the coach from the human being? I don't think I can separate myself from my coach self. And Conrad said something in the very beginning when we were asking all of you to put in how you're feeling as you're entering the call, right? And so I think we bring our whole selves to the coaching conversation. And if I'm grieving, I'm bringing that part of me, and maybe that's, allowing permission for my client if they're grieving about something, or if there's something that needs to be unstuck there. That being said, if I feel like I'm not in a place where I can be present to my client, then maybe I'm not going to coach in that moment. Conrad, anything to add there?
Love both of those. And also pointing to the beginning of the conversation, just to underline what you said, there's a time for clearing or getting there. It's a skill that we use for the coach and the client, because we're coming in from the rest of our world. So what do we need in order to be present, connected? And sometimes if you're deeply grieving as a coach, then I would go out and talk to your coach or therapist or get the support you needed to get back.
Yeah.
And let's see what's next.
Can you go over the logistics of the training program? Is it cohort based, working at own pace, etc.?
So there's 5 courses. Fundamentals is the beginning. They are in sequential order. In person is an option as well as online, and it's self-paced. And we see a lot of people develop cohorts and go through the program together. So that's anything else to add?
Yeah. So, I mean, the working at your own pace piece is that you can choose when you take the courses, as long as you take them in order. So, but you're not working at your own pace, as in like you're going to be watching videos, and you can do that on your own time, because they're live programs.
Yeah.
Virtual and in person.
Cool. What method do you use to market yourself as a coach? Invite people into the experience of Coactive coaching is the best. What I've found is the best way to market is to invite them into experience, have a sample session, be in relationship with them, and so they can appreciate and feel the style that you are. And this is a whole marketing is, we do not teach marketing at CTI. Currently, we teach coach training skills. So to name that, and the marketing aspect, there's a lot of ways to look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it really depends on your style as well, because there are some people who love social media platforms like LinkedIn, for example, and will market themselves there. And there may be others who, like when I first started out as a coach, I sent a message to everybody in my network. You know, hey, I'm starting a business as a coach, and if you know of anybody who would like to have a sample session, as Conrad said, please reach out. So there's lots of different ways there.
Yeah. Friends and family as well, networking. Yeah. Let's see. How do you get opportunities to practice coaching skills while taking coaching sessions?
Well, I think one way is if you're your classmates, if you're taking the program and you have classmates, you know, one great way is to form some trios or some pairs, you know, in between sessions where you can continue to practice. That's one way.
The other one in each one of our courses on between day 2 and 3, typically if it's a 3-day course, there's the opportunity to go out and practice the skills that you've learned in that course with a person outside of the classroom. So we design in the courses to where it's experiential, as Sonal said earlier, and then to go practice it out there. So that is built into the program to support you there as well.
Do you agree on some objectives before starting a coaching? Do you write and deliver any report at the end? Good question.
At the beginning of a coaching session, there's typically what we call discovery session, which allows the coach and the client to do that designed alliance, so how we're going to be in a relationship, and then 2, focus on the outcomes or the goals or the impacts that the client wants to create from the coaching relationship from this. So there is an orientation to that. As far as report writing and delivering, no, not that. There may be some coactive coaches that do that, but no.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's to Conrad's cause, it's very clear. No, I don't do that. Yeah, and as Conrad is saying, like at the start of the coaching engagement, you're going to agree on what is it that this human being wants to get out of this coaching engagement with you. And then at the start of every session, you're also taking some time at the beginning to get clear on what is the topic of the session, which is part of what they're trying to achieve overall, but there may be some very specific things that they're working on. I do not write and deliver reports at the end either. No.
All right. To get from PCC to MCC, Coactive doesn't have any formal training with that. However, there are many folks on our faculty who are MCC that offer courses to help those that are professional coaches move to master coaches. Those distinctions: professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation and master certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. I'm saying that for the recording as well as those that may not know those levels. So we do have faculty members that specialize in helping move coaches to that level.
The program lasts 3 days. Is the online class live? Yes, it is. Are there going to be breaks like an in-person course? 100%, yes. And if I take the first one online, can I take the subsequent courses in person? Yes.
Do you offer the Wheel of Life as a template that we can use? Yes, in the first course, it is in the materials that you get for coactive training.
It might also be on the resources on the Coactive website as well.
Yes.
Might also be there.
And we want to honor time because y'all have been so present and with us, and we're grateful for you being here and supporting the learning together. So we've just got one more minute that we need to close, actually, so we can honor your time and move into what's next.
So we're really sorry that we can't, there's still a bunch of questions coming in, which are such amazing questions. And we're very sorry that we cannot answer the rest of them. That being said, we do run these workshops or these webinars every month. And so if you didn't get your question answered, you're welcome to join the next one. And if that's not possible, join one of our courses. There's a
Yes.
Q&A at the end of every course.
We love to see you and know we'll see you out there in the world. Thank you for being here and be well.
Be well. Bye, everybody.